Authorities in Zimbabwe say they'll investigate and arrest members of their own security forces who are accused of killing at least a dozen people in a crackdown on nationwide protests this month. But more than 1,000 demonstrators are still behind bars after soldiers were deployed to respond to massive protests over the doubling of fuel prices.
I was sleeping in my house. It was not locked, this gate. They slide my gate coming inside.
Yeah.
Those people, they were armed.
Precious Gono was shot in a nighttime raid. Soldiers and young men here went door to door, town to town, appearing to target opposition strongholds. So that's a bullet hole there?
Yes, that's the bullet. He started to swerve each direction, firing arms.
So spraying bullets into the house?
Yes, that's where I was here, somewhere here. I was here. That's where he shot me here, from here, and the bullet come out here. And it hit here as well.
Gono is one of many victims who told us his attackers weren't just soldiers, but armed civilians from the ruling party, ZANU-PF. What were these people wearing?
Some of they were wearing the soldier's uniform, and some of they were wearing the plain attire. These people, they wanted to kill people, but I've done nothing. I'm not a politician. I do not support ZANU-PF. I do not support MDC. I'm a businessman.
Attacks took place at night and were seemingly indiscriminate. This man stepped outside after hearing shouting, only to be beaten down.
So this is the X-ray that you got at the hospital. I mean, you can see it's completely snapped, isn't it?
Yeah. All of a sudden, he just said, "What are you doing there?" And as I looked at him, trying to say, "I am at my home," I was already struck by that iron bar. I didn't see his face just because, you know, he had a mask.
Who do you think is responsible for the attack on you?
It seems as if it's ZANU-PF youth.
So you believe it was ZANU-PF youth working with the military?
Yeah, I seem to see so.
Abuse by the state went beyond indiscriminate beatings. Women were subjected to sexual violence.
People are shouting, "Soldiers, soldiers." I heard the door kicked. When I want to shout, they slapped me. Both of them. There are two soldiers. After that, they said, "You have to have sex with me." Then I said, "No." They slapped me again. I was scared, and there was nowhere to go. Then I removed my clothes.
And your kids were in the house?
Yeah. After that, my husband came back in the morning. Then I didn't say anything to him. I just kept quiet. I was scared of my marriage. Up to today, I didn't tell anyone.
How do you know they were soldiers?
They are wearing their uniforms and they had guns.
Do you feel like you can get justice for what's happened to you?
Police, soldiers are just the same.
They will not believe us. They will just say you are the one who will protesting.
At the heart of this brutality is Zimbabwe's crumbling economy. The fuel tax has eased queues for gas, but they've been replaced by long lines for basic food supplies, now also soaring in price. It's a long way from the optimism this country experienced in 2017, when dictator Robert Mugabe was deposed after 37 years, and raises serious questions over whether ZANU-PF, which Mugabe himself founded, has really changed since winning last year's disputed election. Opposition leader Nelson Chamisa still claims he'd be president if that vote wasn't rigged. He's moved to capitalise on the country's latest split, visiting victims, local press in tow.
Did you ever believe the change could happen?
Yes, we believe. Change is happening. Part of what you are seeing is the journey. Change does not come cheap. This is a difficult struggle. There is no easy walk to freedom. There is no easy walk to any kind of democracy. It's not a walk in the park.
Can ZANU-PF
It's not
change?
instant coffee.
Can ZANU-PF itself change? Do you
It
believe?
has to be changed. If they can't change, they have to be out of the way.
But who's in charge of this country?
Terror is in charge. Violence is in charge. Tyranny is in charge. Dictatorship is in charge.
The new president, Emerson Munangagwa, needs to convince the world that he has control of his security forces. He's kept a low profile, leaving the job of defending accusations of rape and murder against the state to the most powerful woman in his government.
What happened in the last 2 weeks, to say the truth, is tragic and very regrettable. And it should never happen again.
Okay, but it's not really enough to say it was tragic because it happened on your government's watch. These are people employed by the state acting on behalf of the state.
I'm talking about the protest which happened. I'm talking about the hooligans who went around torching cars, looting stores, attacking police. Anywhere in the world, no government will fold its hands when the country is burning.
And so was the state's response proportionate then, in your opinion?
In what way? The state responded to what happened, which is regrettable.
With all due respect,
Yes.
people have died and have been
And it's
beaten.
regrettable.
And we have spoken to young women who accuse soldiers of raping them. How can a woman who has been raped by a soldier have faith in any investigation if it's carried out by the same people who she has been abused by?
Investigations are being done. No stone is going to be left unturned. This is terrible. The accusations that women were raped takes away the women's pride. And I'm a woman, and I'm a mother. And the government is on record that they will make sure all those allegations of misconduct against any of our security services will be dealt with thoroughly.
People have told us that they believe ZANU-PF youth have been perpetrating violence in response to the demonstrations. Will you investigate and arrest members of ZANU-PF youth?
There are rogues among our society. It doesn't matter whether you are ZANU-PF, it doesn't matter whether you are a security force. If there are rogues among our people who are perpetuating violence against the citizens of this country, they will be punished.
The state's actions over the last few weeks has shattered any hope that things are changing here. Right now, trust is in short supply among citizens who say they were abused by the state.
Munangagwa has promised a full and thorough investigation into what has happened to people like you. Do you have faith in that investigation?
Me, myself, I had confidence over him. I thought probably he was going to do something better, but I am living in fear. And the ZANU-PF members, they are terrorizing Harare. They are killing people like chickens, not like human beings. Normally what ought to bear in mind is what goes around comes around. What is being happen in my house tomorrow will happen in his house.